You may or may not have heard this before, but it actually kind of keeps me up at night, and I'm really sorry to have to do this to you, but it's time you knew the truth. We are living in an era of information overload. The more we read, hear and see, the less we process and remember. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. You're getting drenched, but you're not really quenching your thirst for knowledge. All this noise, all this data, it just piles up until you can't tell what's important and what's just, well, junk. It's exhausting, isn't it? The endless scrolling, the constant notifications, the barrage of facts that might not even be facts at all. Don't you just wish there was a way to remove the clutter and get to the really good stuff? Well, we believe here at List 25 we do that for you at least 5 times per week. We sift through the mountains of information to find the absolute gems, the things that will make you stop and go, wait, what? We are your filter for the fascinating, your curators of the curious. Our whole goal is to cut through that static and deliver clear, mind-bending content that you'll actually want to remember and share with your friends, making you the most interesting person in the room. From the bizarre to the amazing and often unbelievable, we bring you the facts you love to hear, so let's get to it. We're about to dive into a world where reality is stranger than fiction, where the things you thought you knew get turned completely upside down. These are the kinds of facts that stick with you, that you'll be thinking about long after this video is over. So, buckle up, because your perception of the world is about to get a serious shakeup. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are interesting facts that'll make you question life. For anyone who's a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's epic The Lord of the Rings, the name Mordor probably conjures up some pretty specific images. You're thinking of a dark, desolate wasteland, home to the evil Sauron and his fiery fortress of Barad-dûr, all watched over by the menacing Eye. It's the ultimate land of shadow and despair, a place you definitely wouldn't want to book a vacation to. Well, prepare to have your geeky mind blown, because it turns out that Mordor isn't just a fictional land of evil. It's a real place. Sort of. NASA scientists, in what I can only assume was a moment of supreme nerdom, officially named a region on one of Pluto's moons, Charon, Mordor Macula. The name is surprisingly fitting. This region, located at Charon's North Pole, is a large, dark, reddish-brown stain that stands in stark contrast to the rest of the moon's pale, icy surface. Scientists believe this dark material is made up of organic molecules called tholins, which are formed when methane gas from Pluto's atmosphere is captured by Charon's gravity and then bombarded by ultraviolet light from the sun. So, while you won't find any orc armies marching across its surface, there's a real, dark, and mysterious place in our solar system named after the home of the Dark Lord Sauron. It's a perfect example of science and pop culture colliding in the most awesome way possible. We tend to think of the moon as a constant, a steady and reliable presence in our night sky. It's been there for as long as humanity can remember, controlling tides, inspiring poets, and generally just hanging out. But here's a thought that might make you feel a little lonely. The moon is slowly, but surely, leaving us. Every single year, our lunar companion drifts about 3.8 centimeters or roughly 1.5 inches further away from the Earth. That's about the same rate at which your fingernails grow. It might not sound like much, but over geological time, it adds up to a huge difference in our cosmic relationship. This slow-motion breakup is all thanks to the tidal forces between the Earth and the Moon. The Moon's gravity pulls on our oceans, creating tides, and the friction from that moving water actually causes the Earth's rotation to slow down ever so slightly. To conserve angular momentum in the Earth-Moon system, the Moon has to speed up and move into a higher, more distant orbit. Billions of years ago, the Moon was much, much closer to Earth, appearing enormous in the sky. Days were shorter, and tides were massive. So, next time you look up at that beautiful silver disk, give it a little wave goodbye. It's not you, it's physics. I want you to try something. Close your eyes for a second and picture an apple. What do you see? You can probably imagine its shape, its color, maybe a shiny red or a crisp green, the little stem on top, maybe even a leaf. Now what if I told you that for some people, when they close their eyes and try to picture that apple, they see nothing? Just blackness. This isn't a metaphor, it's a real neurological condition known as aphantasia, or being mind-blind. People with aphantasia do not have the ability to voluntarily create mental images in their mind's eye. It's a fascinating concept that completely changes how we think about thought itself. For someone with aphantasia, counting sheep to fall asleep is a completely abstract concept. They know what a sheep is, but they can't visualize one. This can also affect how they experience memories. Instead of replaying a memory like a movie in their head, they might remember it as a list of facts and feelings associated with the event. While it might sound like a disadvantage, many people with aphantasia live completely normal, successful lives and often don't even realize their experience of the world is different from others until it's pointed out. It's a reminder that our internal worlds can be incredibly diverse. Okay, this next one is a little weird, and I highly encourage you to try this experiment at home because it's so bizarre you might not believe me. Did you know that your feet can taste garlic? No, I don't mean that your feet have tiny little mouths and taste buds on them. That would be terrifying. What I mean is that if you rub a cut clove of garlic on the bottom of your foot, after about 15 to 20 minutes, you will start to taste garlic in your mouth. It's a strange and slightly unsettling party trick that is 100% based in science, and it works on most people. Here's how this culinary foot magic happens. Garlic contains a molecule called allicin, which is responsible for its strong, pungent smell and taste. Allicin is a volatile, sulfurous compound that has the remarkable ability to penetrate your skin and travel through your cell membranes. Once you rub it on your feet, the allicin gets absorbed directly into your bloodstream. Your circulatory system then does its job, pumping that blood all around your body, including up to your mouth and nose. When it reaches your taste buds and olfactory receptors, your brain registers it and voila, you're tasting garlic, courtesy of your feet. It's a wild demonstration of how interconnected our bodies really are. When you think of ladybugs, you probably picture a cute, harmless little beetle, a welcome guest in any garden and a symbol of good luck. We see them in cartoons and children's books as friendly, polka-dotted critters, and while it's true that they are incredibly beneficial because they feast on garden pests like aphids, there's a much darker, more brutal side to the ladybug that you probably weren't taught as a kid. When times get tough and the aphid buffet runs low, these seemingly sweet insects will not hesitate to turn on each other. That's right, ladybugs are vicious cannibals. This isn't just a rare, desperate act, it's a common survival strategy. A hungry adult ladybug will readily devour ladybug eggs, pupae, and even freshly hatched larvae of its own species. In fact, some ladybug larvae are born with a built-in survival plan: eat your unhatched siblings. The first larva to emerge from a cluster of eggs will often turn around and immediately start munching on its brothers and sisters still in their eggs. This gives it a crucial energy boost to start its life. So the next time you see a cute little ladybug land on your hand, just remember its charming exterior hides the heart of a stone-cold cannibalistic survivor. Think about what you're thinking right now. Chances are, you can hear a voice in your head, a sort of internal narrator that's reading these words along with me or thinking about what you're going to have for lunch later. This voice is called an inner monologue, and for a very long time, it was just assumed that everybody had one. It's your internal self, the voice that debates, worries, and plans inside your own mind. But a few years ago, a viral discussion online revealed a shocking truth. A significant portion of the population doesn't have one. They experience thoughts without an internal voice. For people who don't have an inner monologue, thoughts are not experienced as sentences or words. Instead, they might be abstract concepts, emotions, or visual images, unless they also have aphantasia, which would be a double whammy. If you ask them what they're thinking, they have to translate their non-verbal thoughts into words to explain them to you, a process they describe as consciously constructing a sentence. For those of us with a constant narrator in our heads, the idea of a silent mind is almost impossible to comprehend. And for them, the idea of a voice that never shuts up is equally bizarre. It's another incredible example of the hidden diversity in human consciousness. We all know that people love their dogs. I mean, we call them fur babies. We let them sleep in our beds, and honestly, we spend billions of dollars on gourmet food and adorable little sweaters for them. They're not just pets, they're family. But just how deep does that devotion go? Well, it turns out that for many people, it goes deeper than their romantic relationships. Numerous surveys and studies have revealed a fascinating and maybe slightly alarming trend. When forced to choose between their partner and their dog, a surprising number of people would choose the dog. For example, one study found that a staggering 73% of American dog owners would end a romantic relationship if their partner didn't like their dog. Let that sink in for a second. Nearly 3/4 of people would dump a human being if their canine companion didn't give them the paw of approval. The bond is so strong that many dog owners also admitted they give their dogs more kisses and affection than their partners. It really speaks volumes about the unconditional love and companionship that dogs provide. So, if you're dating a dog owner, just remember that you're not just trying to win over their heart. You have to win over their dog's heart too. And honestly, that might be the harder job. We're used to the idea of earthquakes. The tectonic plates of our planet are constantly shifting, causing the ground beneath our feet to rumble and shake. But, our planet isn't the only geologically active body in the neighborhood. The moon, which seems so still and lifeless, actually experiences its own version of earthquakes, appropriately called moonquakes. Between 1969 and 1977, the seismic stations left on the lunar surface by the Apollo astronauts detected thousands of these events. They revealed a moon that is far from being just a dead rock in space. It's a world that groans and shudders. There are a few different types of moonquakes. Some are deep quakes, caused by the tidal pull of Earth's gravity. Others are vibrations from meteorite impacts, and some are thermal quakes caused by the crust expanding and contracting as it heats up and cools down. But here's the really wild part. Some of them are caused by us. The seismometers detected the vibrations from the discarded lunar modules and booster rockets that we intentionally crashed into the moon's surface. In a way, we've given the moon a few man-made bruises. It's a strange legacy to think that even on another world, we're already leaving our mark and literally shaking things up. For millions of Americans, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance is a familiar ritual, a staple of classrooms and public events for over a century. It's seen as a solemn oath, a declaration of patriotism and loyalty to the flag and the Republic. But, the origins of this iconic pledge are far less grand and a lot more commercial than you might think. The Pledge of Allegiance didn't come from a founding father or a government committee. It was written in 1892 as part of a marketing campaign to sell magazines and American flags to public schools. The author was a man named Francis Bellamy, a Baptist minister and Christian socialist who worked for a popular children's magazine called The Youth's Companion. The magazine's marketing department came up with a plan to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas by promoting nationalism and, more importantly, selling flags. Bellamy wrote the pledge as the centerpiece of this nationwide school celebration. The original pledge was also different. It didn't include the words "under God," which were added by Congress in 1954 during the Cold War era. So, one of America's most sacred patriotic expressions began its life as a clever bit of PR. Have you ever noticed that airline food has a reputation for being incredibly bland and tasteless? You might have blamed it on bad chefs or mass-produced meals, but the truth is, it's not entirely the food's fault, it's yours. Or more accurately, it's the fault of the airplane, cabin, environment. The moment you step onto a plane, your ability to taste begins to diminish significantly. Studies have shown that at a cruising altitude of 30,000 feet, you can lose up to 30% of your ability to perceive salty and sweet tastes. The food isn't bland, your taste buds are. There are two main culprits behind this temporary loss of taste: low humidity and low pressure. The air inside a plane cabin is drier than most deserts, with humidity levels dropping to around 12%. This dryness dehydrates your nasal passages, which dulls your sense of smell, and smell is a huge component of how we perceive flavor. On top of that, the low air pressure in the cabin also reduces the sensitivity of your taste buds. Airlines are well aware of this, so their chefs have to heavily over-season the food with salt, sugar and spices, just so it tastes normal to you up in the air. It's why tomato juice, which is very savory, is so popular on planes. Its strong flavor can cut through the dulling effects. We've all been there. You're driving down the highway minding your own business when you feel that familiar tickle in your nose. You know it's coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You're about to sneeze. It's a completely involuntary reflex, and part of that reflex is another involuntary action: closing your eyes. It's a natural protective mechanism to prevent the stuff you're expelling from getting into your eyes. But while it's harmless most of the time, when you're behind the wheel of a car, that split second of blindness can be surprisingly dangerous. Let's do the math. The average sneeze, from the start of the eye closure to the moment they reopen, can last for about half a second. That doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're traveling at 60 miles per hour, your car is covering 88 feet every single second. This means that during that half-second sneeze, you have traveled 44 feet completely blind. That's longer than a school bus. A lot can happen in 44 feet on a highway. You could miss a car in front of you suddenly braking or fail to see something on the road. It's a startling reminder of how a simple bodily function can become a real hazard when combined with modern technology. I'm really sorry to have to tell you this, especially if you have a sweet tooth. You know that shiny glossy coating you see on candies like jelly beans, candy corn and some chocolates. The stuff that makes them look so appealing and stops them from sticking together. Well, that glaze, known as confectioner's glaze or shellac, comes from a somewhat unsettling source. It's made from the secretions of an insect. To be more specific, it's the resinous secretion of the female lac bug, native to Thailand and India. And yes, in layman's terms, you've been eating bug secretions. Here's the process. These tiny lac bugs infest certain trees and secrete a hard, waxy resin onto the branches to protect their larvae. This substance, called stick lac, is scraped from the trees, heated, filtered, and processed to create the food-grade shellac that ends up on your favorite candy. While the FDA considers it safe for consumption, and it's technically a secretion rather than poop, the image is hard to shake. It's also used as a glaze on fruits and vegetables to make them look shiny and last longer, and it's even the primary ingredient in the shellac used as a wood varnish. So, the same stuff that makes that coffee table shine is also making your jelly beans glossy. Enjoy that thought. When we think of woolly mammoths, we usually place them firmly in the Ice Age, a prehistoric world of cavemen and saber-toothed tigers. We imagine them roaming vast, frozen tundras tens of thousands of years ago, long before the dawn of modern civilization. And for the most part, that's correct. The vast majority of woolly mammoths on the mainlands of Eurasia and North America did die out around 10,000 years ago. But here's the mind-bending part. A small, isolated population of them survived for thousands of years longer. On a remote piece of land in the Arctic Ocean called Wrangel Island, now part of Russia, a dwarf population of woolly mammoths managed to hang on until about 4,000 years ago. This means that while the ancient Egyptians were constructing the Great Pyramid of Giza, a herd of actual, living woolly mammoths was still wandering around on this isolated island. It's an incredible overlap in history that completely messes with our sense of timelines. The pharaohs could have, in theory, known about living mammoths. It's a powerful reminder that history isn't always as neat and tidy as we imagine it to be. Sometimes, ancient worlds collide. What happens when someone tickles you? You squirm, you try to get away, and you laugh uncontrollably. We usually associate that laughter with humor and fun, but scientists believe there's something much more primal going on. The laughter produced by tickling isn't the same kind of laughter you experience when you hear a good joke. In fact, the parts of your brain that are activated are completely different. The leading theory is that tickle-induced laughter is actually a panic response, a built-in, ancient, defense mechanism that we've had since we were very early humans. Think about the areas of the body that are most ticklish: the neck, the ribs, the stomach, the soles of the feet. These are some of the most vulnerable parts of your body. The theory goes that the tickling sensation mimics the feeling of insects or other dangerous creatures crawling on you. The laughter and squirming are an involuntary submission signal. You're essentially showing the attacker, the tickler, that you are not a threat, while simultaneously trying to protect your weak spots. This is also why you can't tickle yourself. Your brain knows there's no threat, so it doesn't trigger the panic response. It's your body's way of crying uncle. This is going to sound like something out of a fantasy movie, but it is scientifically proven. Your body emits light. You glow. Right now, as you're sitting there watching this, your body is producing its own faint visible light through a process called bioluminescence. Now, before you run to a dark room to try and see your own angelic aura, I have to break it to you. The light is about 1,000 times less intense than what our naked eyes are capable of perceiving. But it is there, and scientists have captured it using ultra-sensitive cameras. This glow isn't a steady, constant light. It actually fluctuates throughout the day, following our internal body clock. The glow is at its faintest in the morning and reaches its peak in the late afternoon, with the face glowing more brightly than the rest of the body. Scientists believe this light is a byproduct of the metabolic chemical reactions happening inside our cells, specifically involving free radicals. So, while you may not be a walking, talking glow stick, it's a pretty amazing thought that every living human being is, quite literally, a source of light, even if it's a light we can't see. And there you have it, a collection of facts that hopefully bent your reality just a little bit. From real-life Mordor on a distant moon to the bug secretions that make our candy shiny, the world is so much stranger and more fascinating than we often give it credit for. It's easy to go through life with a set of assumptions about how things work, but every now and then, a fact comes along that pulls the rug right out from under you. And honestly, that's the best part. It reminds us that there's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to question. That feeling of wonder is what we chase here at List 25. We love finding those little nuggets of information that make you see the world through fresh eyes. So, what did you think? Which one of these facts is going to keep you up at night? Let me know down in the comments below. I love reading through your reactions and seeing which ones surprised you the most. And if you have any mind-blowing facts of your own, share them. You might just see them in a future video. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. I really appreciate you all being here. This channel wouldn't be what it is without this incredible community of curious minds. If you see me out and about, most likely at Disney, feel free to come up to me and say hello. Please don't tickle me though, I'm extremely ticklish. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and want more lists that will make you the most interesting person in the room, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, stay curious.